The action's heating up in the Great White North. Let's cap the Monday, June 19th card at Assiniboia Downs.
Today's video is brought to you by Assiniboia Downs Gaming and Event Center. And be sure to tune in to Trust the Profits Live Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern for Monday Night Lights, hosted by Matthew DeSantis.
Salutations and welcome, horse racing fans. My name is Matthew DeSantis. You can find me on Twitter at the handle at Failed to Menace. Welcome to this very special edition of Capping the Card, where we are going to go race 1 through 7, and I'm going to give you my top pick and my top value play for every single race on the Monday, June 19th card at Assiniboia Downs. Make sure to tune in on Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time to be a part of our live stream. We kick it off about 35 minutes before first post. We help you get ready for that evening's StableDuel contest. If you're not playing StableDuel, folks, you're missing out. It's a daily fantasy game that is associated with horse racing. It's a slew of fun. You can get in the action. It's a low dollar contest. You can play an entire card for a very small amount of money. It's a fantasy game where you're using horses based upon their morning line values. You have to pair together favorites with long shots to fit under a fantasy salary cap. Slew of fun. So like I said, we get you ready for that before first post. Once first post happens, we stick with you all through the night, giving you great handicapping, betting advice, great content in the comments as well. We have a wonderful community of people who tune in every Monday night. We bounce ideas off each other. It's a lot of fun, so make sure to check it out. Now, before we get any further, press that subscribe button here on YouTube to get all of our great content on Trust the Profits as we move out of the Triple Crown season and into the summer season. We have a lot of really exciting content coming up. We have plenty of things going on for Royal Ascot this coming week, and we have plenty of things moving forward for Haskell and Saratoga, of course. So a lot of great content here on the channel each and every week, handicapping episodes, graded stakes previews, betting shows like Doubling Down and Capping the Card, horse racing news shows like the Win Play Show. We got something for everyone. All right. Now, like this video and let me know in the comments, what is your best bet on Monday night? Let me know what your best bet is on the card, or maybe a real big long shot that you like. Well, like I said, we're going to go race 1 through 7. I'm going to give my top pick, top value play for all these races. Hopefully this helps you out a little bit, gives you some ideas for those vertical and horizontal plays throughout the evening. And remember to play that late pick 4, $50,000 guaranteed pick 4. Always a lot of fun to play that. Races 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right, well, let's dive into race number 1 on the card, which is a $5,000 claimer for Statebreds, going 5.5 furlongs for 3-year-olds and up. And listen, this race features a very heavy morning line favorite in the form of Bite the Bullet Bro, who is even odds, 1-to-1 odds. And I just can't get the last race out of my head. Yes, I know it was first back in a long time, but this was a horse that shot out of the gate and really faded badly after a duel with the eventual winner, Not Afraid, and was just really outclassed and dropped back pretty significantly, 7+ lengths. Finished 4th that day. Now, you could say, listen, he's going to do better second back from the layoff. Here's the thing. We're stretching out an extra half furlong, so that may or may not be an issue. He's done okay at this distance, and he's done okay going a little bit longer, but still, going a little bit longer with these horses that like to be in the lead can sometimes be a little bit of a challenge, especially if they face a lot of pace pressure. The other thing that strikes me is when you go back and look at Bite the Bullet Bro's past performances, his second back from a layoff, usually you see a decline in speed figures. Now, granted, those were for different trainers in some instances. So obviously under Tom Gardapi Jr., maybe he takes a step forward. But it is interesting that he often fires his best effort first time out, then he kind of regresses, and then he starts coming back again. So something to keep in mind with Bite the Bullet Bro, and at even odds, I just don't love that. Guaranteed Delivery, the number 5 horse, who's 2-to-1 on the morning line. Listen, this is a horse I really like a lot, but I really like to see this horse at 6, 7, 7.5, and a mile. This horse wants more and more distance. So that's one of my concerns with Guaranteed Delivery is he's not quite fast enough to really get up there with the pace. And I think he just needs more time to close. So he's a very, very good horse. If you're going to use one of the 2 favorites, I would rather use Guaranteed Delivery than Bite the Bullet Bro. So I'll say that for the number 5. Ultimately, though, I went to number 1 horse, Bear Me a Moment, 5-to-1 on the morning line for Alan Brown with Neville Stevenson aboard. Second back from the layoff. This horse has a nice late kick, but tends to do pretty well at this distance. Does have 2 wins in 8 tries at this distance. Has hit the board 5 out of 8 times. Has done well at Assiniboia, 14 out of 24, hitting the board with 4 victories. So I think this horse has a reason to step forward. I think there's going to be a fair amount of pace pressure in this race. Unlike the number 5 Guarantee Delivery, I don't think Bear Me a Moment is necessarily a horse that needs more and more distance, can get the job done, breaking from the inside at 5.5 furlongs to close into it. So you're getting a little bit more value. Listen, speaking of value, the other horse that I like in this race, my top value play, is the number 4 Jersey Shadow from Marvin Buffalo. And quite frankly, just flat betting Marvin Buffalo right now would not be a bad idea. He is 5 for 9 at this meet. That's right. That's a 56% winning percentage. And oh, by the way, 7 for 9 in the money so far at this Assiniboia Downs meet. Interestingly enough, Sven Ballerup, the jockey, he's got 5 wins on the year. Guess what? They all came aboard Marvin Buffalo horses. And one of those was Jersey Shadow last time out, who won a $7,500 claimer, non-winners of 2 lifetimes. So this is a horse that is kind of on the come up. This is a horse that actually broke its maiden in the last race it ran last year at Assiniboia in September of 2022, comes back from the long layoff, runs against winners the first time, and wins that race. I thought that was particularly impressive. Had a little bit of trouble at the break as well, dug in and held off a rival, get up early. So I was impressed by that effort. 8-1 in the morning line. I like the odds here. Now, this is the horse that I think is going to challenge Bite the Bullet Bro in terms of that early pace. So you could say, listen, maybe he gets eaten up by that pace too. The thing is, this is a horse that won at 6 furlongs, I think can go longer than 5.5, doesn't need that distance. And the fact this horse dug in and showed a lot of persistence that first time out gives me confidence that this is a horse that does not want to back down. So I'm going to use Jersey Shadow underneath, and I might even use him in some win bets up top as well. And certainly if I'm playing horizontally, he's one I'm going to be using as well. Well, let's move on to race number 2, which is a $7,500 maiden claiming race. And this is going 5 furlongs for, again, those state breds, 3 years old and up. And I'm not going to get fancy with this race. This is one where I'm going to go with the favorite, the number 6, Sugar Daddy Jack, 5-2 in the morning line for trainer Shelley Brown with Antonio Whitehall aboard. Listen, I just made a comment about flat betting Marvin Buffalo. Flat betting Antonio Whitehall is not a bad idea at this point. The man's winning 30% of his mounts thus far at this meet as a jockey. So it's absolutely incredible what he's doing and the role that he's on. Sugar Daddy Jack is the one horse in this field who's making the drop, right? He's going from maiden special weights down to those maiden claiming races. So ran in 2 maiden special weights last year, ran against some nice horses like Prairie Drifter, like Blazing Bow, who came back to win next time out. Then he goes to the bench, obviously from September until May, comes back in the same sort of a state bred spot, but in a maiden special weight 19,000, finishes 5th that day out of 6 horses. But here's the thing, that race has come back very live. Private Frank, who won that race, came back to win a very impressive optional claiming 10 race last time out. Kentucky Jake comes back to win next time out. He finished 3rd that day, and he finished 3rd by 9.5 lengths. So even the horses that were well beaten in that maiden special weight race came back to win next time out. So that's something I think to keep in mind. The race has come back pretty live. Sugar Daddy Jack 5-2. If you get anywhere near 5-2, I'd be shocked. But this is one I'm absolutely going to be using, and possibly even a single up top. And I also like that this horse got in a nice little maintenance work in between that May 30th trip and Monday. Worked out last Monday and went 48-3 for furlong work. So that's a nice little work for the horse to turn in. I thought in between races, it's not always common at Assiniboia to see that. So really like that. Now, from a value standpoint, I'm going to stay in the Shelley Brown barn and just move over to the number 3 horse, All Terrain Jane. I think this horse has a reason to step forward this next time out. Ran at a maiden claiming 10 basically last time out. Now you're, maiden claiming 75, so maybe a slight drop in class. But listen, that was this horse's debut as well on June 5th. Horses have every right to take a step forward between first and second race, and particularly when you see a horse like this who flashed early speed and then faded late. Listen, finished 4th by 8 lengths, but showed that early speed to get up there on the lead and to be able to break well from the gate. I think that's important. There's not necessarily overwhelming speed in this race, and so I could very easily see All Terrain Jane now with a race under her belt and feeling a little bit more confident. And I think, having a little bit more stamina, I think that she's going to be able to take a big step forward. And Shelly Brown's, has some success second time out. He and Lewis are teaming up to win at a 12% rate. So there's a little bit of success there. I view this horse more as an underneath play, but it's 6-1 and a possibility of floating up. I think this horse has some upside. So I'm going to be using this one in my vertical exotics for sure. Let's move on to race number 3, which is a really nice race. Optional claimer 10. That's going 6 furlongs for 3-year-old and up. And again, I'm going to try to get around a pretty heavy favorite in this particular race. And I'm going to go with my top pick, the number 6 Unbroken Star at 4-1 for Jared Brown and Jorge Carreno. Listen, those two were dynamite last year. They're not quite as hot this season, but my gosh, last year at Assiniboia, those two felt like they were winning at about a 30 to 35% clip. And that's not even hyperbole. That's genuinely what they were winning at. So I think, this is like I said, a really nice horse. But this is one where, like I said, I'm going to try to get around Hard West, who is the favorite at 7-5. He makes a lot of sense. Second back from a layoff, or third back from a layoff, I should say. Ran twice already at this Assiniboia meet. But here's the thing. We're going 6 furlongs now. And while he's got some success at 6 furlongs last time out, he tired and ended up losing ground at 5.5 furlongs. Now, you could say it was in the slop, which is true. There are some thunderstorms in the forecast for Monday night, so something to keep in mind. But, does he really want 6 furlongs necessarily? You look the last couple of times he's run at 6 furlongs, even going back to his races at Parks, he's tended to fade. So I'm a little worried. Again, at a short price, you got Antonio Whitehall aboard. So, everything I said in the last race is absolutely still true, that Whitehall is riding beautifully. But at 7-5, I'm going to try to get past him in this particular spot. And then the number 1 horse in the deep is a 3-1 shot. I like this horse fine, but again, kind of faded a little bit. And I'm not entirely sure that this might be a little too tough of a spot. This might be more of a claiming horse rather than an optional claiming. So we'll see. As a result, I ultimately went to the number 6 Unbroken Star, 4-1 on the morning line. This is a horse that feels like a one-turn horse. And I say that because last time out, this horse ran 7 furlongs, which of course at Assiniboia is a 2-turn race. You go back and look at how this horse has run in 1-turn races, going back to Turf Paradise, second in a claiming 12.5 and winning an optional claiming 12,000. So those were the last 2 times this horse went in a 1-turn 6.5. And by the way, the next time also another win in a claiming 8. So this horse has a lot of success at the 6.5 distance. I think this is just a 1-turn type of a horse. I think you can scratch that last effort going 2 turns and potentially even that last 2 efforts because he was going a mile at Turf Paradise before that. So I like Unbroken Star. I think this is a horse that's got nice early speed, but also has a good, sustained late run. So I think this is a really good one for a barn that traditionally is pretty good and traditionally has been very hot for connections that, like I said, still are winning overall the last calendar year at a 32% clip. So I'm going to use the number 6 Unbroken Star as my top choice. Now, for a value play, I'm going to go to a horse that has never missed the board at 6 furlongs, and that's McKagie. McKagie is 8-1 on the morning line for Carl Anderson with Stanley Shadé Jr. aboard. Shadé, I should say. And, McKagie is an interesting horse in that he is a very, very honest runner who has run in some big time spots. Now he's coming back from a layoff. This is his first race of the season. But you go and look at this horse's form. This horse has been winning stakes races at a mile, finishing 3rd in the Gold Cup last season at a mile and an 1/8. Has finished 2nd at 6 furlongs. Like I said, has never missed the board at 6 furlongs and has a win in 2 seconds. Excuse me. In his career at Assiniboia, McKagie is actually 17 for 19 in the money. I really like this horse and the fact that this horse has had a lot of works leading up to this first race of the season, including a June 5th Bullet 5 furlong work, 102-1. Comes back, runs another 5 furlong, 102-3 last Sunday. So this horse is, I think, in good shape Carl Anderson, the trainer, has nice 19% win rate coming back from a long layoff. This is a horse that's got a lot of class, has run against far superior competition. I'm going to use McKagie as my top pick in this one. Like I said, this is, I think, a really good value play here. Crown Royal is another interesting horse. I think Crown Royal is a little bit like a horse I talked about earlier. I think that's a horse that I want to see at 6.5, 7 furlongs, or maybe 7 and a mile even. I think that horse does a little bit better going 2 turns at Assiniboia. But certainly at 15-1, Crown Royal would be a nice underneath value play for Lise Pruitt, who's very hot as a barn as well. So that's another one just to throw out there as a value. Crown Royal, 15-1 on the morning line. So I like Unbroken Star up top, but McKagie and Crown Royal present fantastic value underneath, I think. Well, let's go to race number 4, which is an optional claimer 10, going a mile, that aforementioned 2-turn mile that I talked about. And this is for a 3-year-old and up. And I really like the number 3 horse in this race, and that's Happy Camper. This is just a horse that I think runs against really big time company going back to those Turfway Park races. This is a horse that actually ran against Verstappen 5 races ago. Verstappen came back and won a grade 2 race 2 races later. So that's the caliber of horse that Happy Camper was running against. Last time out, going 7 furlongs at Assiniboia, made a nice charge, made up a lot of ground late. That race has already come back live as Magic Tiger, who won that race, came back to win another. Explosive, who finished second, came back to win next out as well. So that race has come back really strong. Happy Camper is the only one of the top 3 who's not run again, and he's got his opportunity on Monday. The first 2 have already come back to win. So I really like Happy Camper at this spot at 7-2 on the board. I think going that extra distance of going a mile should work out nicely. 2 for 6 in his career going that distance. Like I said, has worked well going against even better company. And I also have liked this all-weather to dirt transition. We've seen a lot of success from horses coming in from Woodbine. We've seen a lot of successes from horses coming in from Golden Gate and from Turf Paradise, or Turfway Park, I should say, as well. So the Turfway Park synthetic, that's usually a pretty nice transition to dirt, especially up here at Assiniboia. So I'm going to use Happy Camper as my top pick in race number 4. Now, as my value play, I really like the number 7 a lot. And I kind of went back and forth if this was going to be my top pick, actually, for Steve Kepplin Jr. with Antonio Whitehall aboard. 5-1 on the morning line. This is a horse that won last time out going 6 furlongs. And here's what gives me confidence. This is a horse that was just getting stronger and just pulling away, going 6 furlongs, seemed to just want to keep running and running and running. Now, he's stepping up in class, no doubt about it. That was a claiming 5,500 race that he won last time out. Now we're running in an optional claimer 10. So we're stepping up in class, no two ways about it. But this horse does have success, 8 for 18 in his career going a mile. 1 for 1 at Assiniboia, for just won that last race. 5 wins in 18 career efforts at a mile. This horse has run against some nice competition going back to his days at Tampa, Fairgrounds, Delaware Park, Monmouth, Penn National Parks. This horse has been around. Now it's come up to Assiniboia. I think has really nice late speed figures. I think this horse, if he was further inside, he would have been my top pick. But I always know going 2 turns at Assiniboia, you really want to be in one of those first 3 inside post positions generally. Exchequer, if he can work out the right trip from the far outside 7 post, I think he's a real threat. Not only to hit the board, he's a real threat to win potentially in this race. But I like him as a value play if you're looking for something a little bit more pricey. Well, let's move along to race number 5 on the card. And this one is 5.5 furlong claimer going for 3-year-olds, the non-winners of 3 lifetime. And this is for fillies and mares 3 years old and up. And in this one, I really do like, there's 2 very close favors, but I really do like the 4 Tapiture Way quite a bit in this spot. This is just a horse that I think is just a little bit better than the number 3 Mia Bella. And I think that this is a horse that, like I said, I just like the way this horse has been running. Has run twice since coming back from this long layoff, finished second both times. I think doing 5.5 furlongs is not going to be an issue at all for this horse. I really like the fact that this horse has shown the ability to pass horses or to get out on the lead. And I think this horse has some nice late pace speed figures, so I'm not worried about this horse fading too much. Is 3 for 4 at the distance in terms of hitting the board, and is 2 for 2 hitting the board at Assiniboia. So I think this is a horse that's run against maybe some tougher competition at Woodbine. Again, we talked about that all-weather to dirt transition. This is a horse that's run quite well the first 2 times out. I like this one a little bit more than Mia Bella, who, like I said, is coming in with a little bit of taking a little bit of a step up in class from last time out. And I just wonder if maybe gets pressured a little too much in this race. I think there's another horse in here who I like a little bit, Artisan Dancer, who I think is going to apply some early pressure on Mia Bella, and that might not be good for that horse. So I'm going to use Tapiture Way as a 7-5 as my top choice. Now, I mentioned Artisan Dancer as my value play for Wendy Anderson with Ronaldo Cumberbatch up on the ride. This is a horse that's finished just behind Tapiture Way the last 2 times out, finished third in both of those races. Here's the thing. I think this horse, gave way a little bit and got a little bit of pace pressure going 6 furlongs. I think the cut back to 5.5 is actually a little bit better. At 5-1, you're getting a little bit more value. I think this horse runs well at this distance. It has not won, which is why it's not my top pick in this race, but is 7 for 11 in the money at this distance. That's saying something, and is 7 for 11 in the money at Assiniboia Downs. So it likes this distance. It likes this track. Feels like a very honest horse, very honest runner. Third back now in the form cycle. I think that last time out was maybe a little too much pace pressure, but I think breaking from the outside, this horse can sit just off of Mia Bella, doesn't need to go and jet to the lead, and has much better late pace speed figures than Mia Bella does. So that's something to keep in mind. This one, I think Artisan Dancer is more likely to carry on and run on than Mia Bella is in this spot. So that's ultimately why I went with Tapiture Way and Artisan Dancer as my top 2 selections in race number 5. Let's roll along to race number 6 on the card, which is a $7,500 claimer going 6 furlongs for a 3-year-old and up. And I'm going to go to the far outside here in the number 8 horse, Terawatt, who just impressed me so much last time. Both these horses did. That my top pick and my top value play. Little Toe impressed me a ton too. But listen, Terawatt was a horse I really liked last time out and showed a lot of grit, being able to win that race for Mike Taphorn with Ronald Ollie aboard. I think this is a horse that continues to take a step forward. I'm always impressed by those horses that win first time out, and the fact that they seem to have this momentum and seem to be getting stronger as the race goes on. So again, I really like Terawatt in this spot. Good speed, but can win from off the pace. I think that's one of the keys. Doesn't need the lead, but like I said, came from off the pace. This is a horse that had been running at Will Rogers pretty regularly. So unlike a lot of horses, was fresh, but really did reverse his form. Hadn't come in the great form coming into Assiniboia. Had finished 7th and 4th his previous 2 races. Came in last time, really turned things around. And Mike Taphorn, I thought, did a great job. That's a trainer that's winning at a 50% clip at this meet already. And he's actually at a 75% clip in terms of being in the money. So 6-1 on Terawatt feels like really good odds. I think that's also noteworthy that the second place horse in his last race came back to win next time out. So again, we're talking about races coming back live. Terawatt's race already coming back pretty live. Now, for my value play, I'm going to go to the number 7, Little Toe. This is a hard-knocking horse, 8-year-old with 62 races under his belt, but he showed a lot of grit in winning last time out. This was a horse that came up from Foner, just won last week, actually, for trainer Jerry Gorno, who early in the meet was in a really bad funk, but has since really turned things around. He started this meet 0 for 13, even hitting the board. Now he's got 6 wins on the meet. He's got 19 horses that have hit the board. He's really starting to heat up. So those trainer percentages, it looks like it's only 12%. If you scratch the first 13, though, he's actually hitting at a 17, 19, 18, 19% rate. So he's a little bit more successful than you'd realize. This is a very good horse at this distance as well. 10 for 19 lifetime at this distance. Like I said, won at Assiniboia first time out. Stepping up in class a little bit, no doubt about it. But I just think this is a horse that I really like that they lost the blinkers on this horse. This horse can relax maybe a little bit more. This horse still has decent late speed. So I think this horse doesn't need the lead, but can keep running on well. So I'm going to use the number 7, Little Toe, at 8-1 on the morning line. That's one I really like quite a bit. Listen, I can see the argument for the number 5, Diamond Digger, This is a horse that it was an excellent horse. Won his first 4 starts in his career at Assiniboia, then went to Santa Anita, and something just went wrong. Came back to Assiniboia, wasn't the same horse, took a 2-year layoff, or I'm sorry, a full year layoff from June of 22 to June of 23. Came back, ran a respectable third last time out. Maybe you think this horse takes it a step forward and gets there 2-1. Typically, horses coming back from that long of a layoff, sometimes you need that third run in the form cycle. The number 4, Dazzling Mischief, is another heavy favorite, 5-2 in this race. This is a horse that faded last time out, and interestingly enough, Jared Brown is not really great second off the comeback. He's actually a little bit better at getting horses keyed up for that first race out. The fact that Dazzling Mischief didn't turn in a particularly good effort first time out was a little disturbing. This is an 8-year-old horse, and sometimes when they get to that age, some horses just lose a step. Other horses keep chugging along. So Little Toe, we saw as an 8-year-old come back, run really well. Dazzling Mischief might take a few more races to get into form. Let's move to the final race on the card, which is race number 7. And this is my favorite race in the card. And this is a $20,000 maiden special weight going 6 furlongs for 3-year-old fillies and mares. And I'm a huge, huge fan of the value play in this race, Island High. But before we get to that, let's talk a little bit about Double Barrel Delight, which is a horse I like a lot as well. And Double Barrel Delight, 4-1 on the morning line for Michael Nault with Chavion Chow aboard. I'll use this horse up top. This horse came back, ran a really nice race first time out, and ran very honest. This is a horse that ran against the boys a couple of times last year, ran in a stakes race, finished third, was well beaten, but finished third in a stakes race last year, and has turned in some nice efforts. Seemed like this horse took a little bit of a step forward over the winter, came back, ran its best speed figure to date first time out, really best performance first time out as well. And I think you're going to see another progression from this horse. Michael Nault has a little bit of success second time out. He and Chow in particular winning at a 25% clip. I just think this horse needed one off the bench. I think all systems are go now for this one. I like this horse quite a bit. The number 9, Sparkling Silver, is your even money favorite. My concern with Sparkling Silver is this horse should have won the last 2 times out. This horse got to the lead and then just lost it late, going 5 and going 5.5. And you actually saw a regression in speed figure from first to second time out. Not what you want to see, not moving in the right direction. So I'm going to, like I said, try to get past that favorite with the number 4, Double Barrel Delight. The horse that I'm most excited about, though, is the number 8, who's my value play, Island High, 8-1 on the morning line for trainer Lise Pruitt and Praven Bradbury aboard. This is the full sister to the great mare Hidden Grace, who was a stakes winner at Assiniboia and was 18 for 27 winning at Assiniboia in her career. High Pioneer is one of the most effective brood mares in this Assiniboia circuit. Her offspring are winning 40% in first time out. This barn is very hot. The works look very solid. This is a horse I really like a lot. 8-1 in the morning line. You're not going to get that, I don't think, come post time. But this is, this is a horse that is half to Melisandre, is full to Hidden Grace. I mean, again, High Pioneer has turned out nothing but spectacular horses. There's no reason to think Island High is not going to be another spectacular horse for the Lise Pruitt barn. So I really like Island High quite a bit. I might put a little bit of money actually on this horse to win first time out, but this is absolutely my pedigree play of the day. All right. Well, that will do it for this episode of Capping the Card at Assiniboia Downs for Monday night. Make sure to tune back in to get the live stream on Monday at 8 p.m. as we take you from 30 minutes leading up to the race all the way through race 7. Remember to press that subscribe and like button, comment below with your favorite pick of the day. Until next time, friends, my name is Matthew DeSantis, wishing you a great and profitable day at the races and reminding you that it's now post time.